an FPV drone hit us. The car has already been repaired. It was a night drone right in Bakhmut, in Artemovsk, our city. They replaced the doors. The car has already been straightened out. Well, the interior is still a mess inside. There was a person in the back. He was riding with us. He died. He was a serviceman. My call sign is Griva. I am an instructor engineer in the Karbyshev Sapper battalion. I've been working since 2023, since August. You could say almost from the very foundation, from the origins of the battalion, from the very beginning. At first, the commander and I worked in the northwest direction of Artemovsk, formerly Bakhmut. That's it. We practiced remote mining, worked on it directly, and also provided support to the fighters on the front line.
Did you become a sapper only during the special operation, or did you have any experience before that?
No, I didn't have any experience at all. I came as a volunteer, and all the extensive knowledge I have acquired, well, absolutely everything I truly learned was solely thanks to our dedicated command staff, our highly skilled commanders, especially the truly remarkable Artemov, our esteemed battalion commander, who, how exactly should I put it, in the most precise terms? The advantage is that our commanders are always close by. That is, in the most critical areas, we were always side by side with the commanders. Right now, we're gonna clear the passage. There are mines. We have some information, so we'll see what's there. You'll see everything with your own eyes. We don't know ourselves yet, so we'll see as it happens.
Is this also called humanitarian demining?
In general, when we're in the green zone, where civilians are already living and working, first and foremost, it's definitely humanitarian demining. So to speak, we're dealing with the consequences of war and combat operations. Especially in courtyards, the enemy doesn't hesitate to booby-trap a toy with a homemade explosive device filled with explosives and shrapnel. You always need to treat everything with the utmost caution and attentiveness, and view everything from the perspective that it could explode, that it could go off, and not reach for anything that you didn't put there yourself, so to speak, especially after you arrive at the position previously occupied by the enemy. In situations where everything is ringing, we proceed by thoroughly probing everything, at the very least trying to control where you step. Because in this case, a mine detector won't help us here.
Under the layer of soil, there's asphalt pavement now, and it's ringing continuously.
We are a specialized engineering and sapper battalion, so we specifically train engineers and sappers for ourselves, who will support the work of all units, building fortifications, installing anti-drone nets on roads, and neutralizing explosive devices along supply and evacuation routes. Since the UCROPs, just like us, remotely lay mines, every day all known supply and evacuation roads are seeded with explosives. Our teams also neutralize these. Assault sappers must be present in every unit engaged in active combat. And we also train these sappers for all units of volunteer corps. We train sappers for 11 days. For the first few days, They spend half the day learning theory here in the classroom, you see. The other half of the day they spend at the training ground. From the very first day, from the start of their training, they begin working with live ammunition. Explosions start right on the first day, beginning with the simplest tasks, making an incendiary fuse and assembling a surface charge, and progressing to fairly complex and rare munitions like the KZ-6, which we are currently using quite a lot when installing anti-drone nets.
Look, up until now, everything we've examined has been individual abandoned or lost munitions. But now we can actually see it. Over there, the MVG's 62 fuse is sticking out. So understanding that this is a road or a dam, what exactly is this? Most likely it's an anti-tank barrier. This means that there isn't just one mine here, but rather, given this width, there should be anywhere from 6 to 12 mines here, depending on how many rows are in the barrier. If there's one row, then about 6 mines. If there are 2, then twice as many, 12 or maybe even more. There could be fewer if there was a shortage of mines. But we estimate roughly that number. Let's see how many there actually are.
Four, five, six. They're arranged in a staggered pattern, roughly speaking, for digging. Logically, it's all classic, right? Logically, that's all. Bro, you really do look great on camera. Seriously, I'm telling you, the scenery is amazing. I get it. Can you imagine? What do you want? Go ahead. If you want, go ahead and dig around a bit. It's hard to breathe, isn't it?
In this case, since we don't know their origin, we don't know if there's a booby trap or not, we don't know if the barrel channel has been cleared or not, everything lying in the ground, all cluttered up, must be destroyed on site without being moved. Transporting it is prohibited. If we find something in its original packaging or prepared for firing, that's a different story. That can be transported. In that case, we'll move it all to one place and destroy it there in bulk. Not long ago there was an incident when some people arrived on a motorcycle, went where they shouldn't have, and ended up blowing themselves up.